Hello, sir. This is Group 7 Epithia. I'm Kakande Silveria, representing. We're handling scenario 2 question, which is all about asset depreciation, where we're tasked to design an Excel Visual Basic for application system that automates depreciation tracking for the group's assets, and which should include login and authentication, asset entry form, automated depreciation schedule, and a validation and feedback. So right in front of you, this is the login form that takes you to the worksheet, which displays the asset entry. So I would like my colleague to start from here and take you through.
My name is Kebawini, and I'll start from the login page. And here we are going to put in our username as BBC. And our password as 2025 as instructed in the question. So here we shall log in. So when you log in, you have your asset form displayed, as you can see. And you can use an asset, for example, land. We can choose another one. Let's call it house. So after putting our asset name, we shall go to the cost. So we shall put in the cost, which is 8,000. After, we shall go to the value, which is 400. So after the value, we go to useful life, which is 5 years. And the depreciation method we are using here is the straight line method. So we submit. We go to developer and we shall go to the Visual Basic. From here we shall choose the form login, and this is how it looks like. So this is how the login page looks like, and we shall go to our code where we got it from. So this is where we got the username and password, as you can see. And therefore, these are our valuables. The username BBC and the password 2025. So the next part is if the username and the password are correct, the message box will show us login successful. And if the username is wrong, the message box will show that access denied.
My name is Sekandi Remish. I'm going to handle the part of the asset entry form. We're going to see how we came up with it. We have the asset name, cost, salvage value, useful life, and depreciation method. So we go to our back end and we see the code for the asset. This first code initializes our methods called straight line method, sum of years digits, and declining balance. So we have our variables as seen in the form: asset name, cost, life, and so on. So we validate the asset name, whereby if the asset name is empty, the message box will display asset name is required. So we go to the cost. If the cost is not numeric, our message box will display cost must be a positive number. Another thing we are going to look at the salvage value. That if the salvage value is not numeric, the message box will display salvage value must be a non-negative. Also, if the salvage value is greater than or equal to the cost, then our message box will display salvage value must be less than cost. So now we also have useful life. That if the useful life is not numeric, the message box will display useful life must be a whole number. Also, if the useful life is less than or equal to 0, message box will display useful life must be greater than 0. Now we're on the variable called method. But if the method is empty, the message box will tell us to please select a depreciation method as seen before. Now we have a function that allows us to calculate the first year depreciation, whereby for the first case it's straight line method, sum of year digits, and a declining balance, and these are their formulas: SLN, SYD, and DDB. Another thing we look at, we have to save our work in the asset register, or our assets in the asset register. So this code allows us to save our assets in the asset register with their corresponding depreciations. So let's go to the next part. So after knowing all that, we have our functions. Now we shall see that in this workbook, the code we have here, that the form login should show as long as we open our worksheet as a VB model. Another thing we should know, that we shall have sheet 1 with depreciation land, sheet 2 asset register, sheet 3 depreciation car, sheet 4 depreciation machine, and sheet 5 depreciation lorry. And then we shall also know that in the module we have a code that allows us to initiate everything initially. So after knowing all that, I shall pass on to my next colleague to show us how the system functions.
My name is Aishka Shailo. I'm going to take you through how our system works by opening our this is our login form, whereby the username is BBC and the password is 2025. Then I log in. Then it displays the asset entry form, whereby our asset entry form has the asset name. Let me use an example of an asset as jewelry, whereby I'll give it the cost. Our cost, I'm going to give it 4 million. The salvage value, I'm going to give it 20 million. And this full value, I'm going to give it 5 years. Then on the depreciation method, I'm going to use the straight line method. Since we use sum of years when we entered in the system, let me now use sum of years. After entering the values, then you press submit. Remember, we have to check if our depreciation jewelry has been in our worksheet.
So I'll start from where my colleague has stopped. My name is Juguno Fad. So I'll take you to the assets register to see if our asset was recorded.